In this world, there are things that cannot be explained. Things that hide in the darkness and shadows of every corner. Things unknown. Here, we take some of the most unusual and bizarre videos found online and discuss them with the world's most renowned specialists in the paranormal field. This is The Unknown Caught on Video.
Hotels, there's so much energy just coming and going all of the time. These ones are very difficult. You know, you never know who is there, what is there, what type of energy is there. There is just always so much going on. It's oh boy, it's a hotel of spirits.
Everyone thinks supernatural or a ghost of some kind. But to me, that is what I would call a Yetelli.
Now, I'm not quite sure what to make of this yet, but give me a minute.
This is another video that what we're seeing is security footage. So we know that A, it's authentic, the source is reliable, and therefore everything you see in it really happened.
Okay, so this is scary at first, but if you continue watching and listening, you really start to understand what's happening here.
Show me.
What's going on, John?
I already told you the story about the first incident that I had with the lizard person. That was the first time that I found out that I could, speak with people on a different plane. It got even worse when I went home that night, and I thought the house was haunted, and I just thought it was. I found out, yeah, it's f***ing haunted.
There's no one checked into that room. There should be nobody in there. Wait 1 second, John. Amy, are you there? Yeah, John says he hears the screaming coming from that room. And I hear it too.
Okay, yes. Now this here, I can feel the spirit. And it's angry.
Just the sound of these screams alone is very frightening. There's a whole lot of anguish behind them. It's very hard to listen to, for sure.
Now, what's a Yetelli? It's like a Bigfoot creature, only more refined. And they've been seen and heard of mostly in Italy, but they also have been seen in America, mostly in hotels.
Okay, this could be a spirit, but if it is, it's the spirit of an alien race called the Little Green Men.
And what happens is a security team, 2 males and a female who I believe is the person who reported this incident to the 2 males who are investigating it. 1 male has walked up this hotel hallway and approached a room where screaming had been heard, but no one was inside.
This, my friends, is undeniably real.
It was haunted by a lovely old man named Will Jenkins. He was a great dude, apparently, an old farmer. He was where our house was sitting. His old farmhouse used to be. He didn't bother anybody. But in the 40s, hooligans came in and robbed him. He put up a fight and they killed him. It was really unfortunate.
You never, ever want to disturb a spirit like this. it can manifest itself enough to harm you. And it probably will.
We all hear the screaming, John. We all feel the screaming. Do you feel it, John?
But we're sure that no one's checked into that room, correct? John, just wait. We're gonna get a hold of the police, so I would wait for the police, John.
And here we see John being told to wait for the police, but the urgency in these screams and his dire need to be the hero in this story clearly drives him into this room alone, which is something I would not recommend for most people.
Yetelli, it's your upscale Bigfoot. They bathe, they comb their hair. I've seen them burning their own waste. They are the most overlooked of the Bigfoot creatures because their homes in the forest look like homes in the forest.
As I watched the video further, I began to recognize some of the sounds from an LGM hunt. You see, they scream in order to scare you off. This seems to be another case of mistaking the extraterrestrial for the supernatural.
So I looked up the history of this hotel, and what I found was interesting. I don't know if it's the cause of the current haunting, but it used to be a hospital for the mentally challenged in like the late teens and the 20s and the 30s.
You could tell that this guy wants to go inside of that room, but he thinks there's something in that room that does not want him around.
Okay, this guy right here had the right idea at first. But I believe that he then enters the room, even after his coworker and his boss, his manager, tells him not to go in there.
I would wait for the police, John. Amy, John's gonna enter the room real quick, just to check, make sure, see what's going on. Wait one.
He goes there and he unlocks the door and goes in. Wow, that took a lot of guts.
He goes in and checks on this horrifying screaming sound, and he's gone.
John.
This guy has balls walking into the room like that. Anyone else would probably wait for the motley crew, you know? Damn.
Don't go at it alone. That was just silly, John. That was just very silly.
So the man goes up to investigate, knocks on the door, verifies that no one is answering, and goes inside. And then we see this ghostly apparition exit as he goes inside.
If you look at the bottom right of that screen, you could see the cloaked or camouflaged Yetelli exiting the room.
In the decades that I've been doing this, I've never seen anything quite like this.
Clearly, we can see the apparition leaving the room, which very good for John. Let's just say that.
We see the man open the door. We see the man enter the room. And then, there it is.
You can see something like faint run out of the room. It's only 3 or 4 feet tall. Little green man spirit.
But what we see leaving the room is clearly of an adult size.
We see the spirit hover or enter the room, and now free to haunt either you or I or anybody watching this video. That's the risk we take when we investigate the outer world.
But clearly, this apparition does not wish to hurt somebody, or else they would have stayed in there, and quite frankly, John would have been screwed.
If this haunting does have something to do with the building's history, then yeah, it's probably a pretty pissed off spirit.
So at 8 years old, I am trying to help this old man spirit come to terms with the fact that he is no longer alive so that he can cross over. And he did. Did my parents believe me? No. Did the school kids believe me? No.
The screams I've heard these Yetellis make when I was in Italy were just like this here. Pure terror.
Now, why would it leave when it's been screaming? You know, a non-corporeal entity such as this, a phantom spirit, is often stuck in our realm, but is not of our realm.
That is so believable.
I'm getting more worked up about this because I can't deal with naysayers anymore. It's really annoying. You know, all I want to do these days is catch Chupacabra so I can let him loose on you because you deserve something like that.
Yeah, and at this point, once the guy enters the room, it's his coworker that's scared the most. Yeah.
John? John, are you there?
But, you know, he just never should have gone in there. Never should have entered that room.
He does not respond to his supervisor on the radio. He is gone.
John, are you there?
Now, he returns in what seems like seconds to us, but it probably was like hours to him. I think he was abducted.
I think I've only been able to actually successfully capture one. Yeah, one. And then, you know, the government swooped in, the men in black came in and took it away. And now it's locked up in Area 51 along with E.T.
It doesn't surprise me that he doesn't see the Yetelli in the room. Because Yetelli, as we all know, they have fur with compounds that are like a chameleon. They just and gone.
Apparitions like this, they don't necessarily always want to hurt people. They're not always bad people. They're just going through bad things.
What is it?
In this specific case, this spirit has developed the ability to mimic human screaming. Much like in nature, certain bird species can mimic the human voice. Spirits are of nature as well, and they too can learn to mimic these things.
One of two things can happen in a situation like this. One is opening the door and either getting killed or possessed, or two, you release the angry spirit into the world that we're living now, where it has the fuel it needs to survive forever. Believe me, I've seen it.
The lights flickering just like a little snap to let you know just how strong this apparition and its feelings are.
Most of the time, Yetelli won't move when it's cloaking itself. Now, this guy comes into the room, bursting in there all hot and bothered, really angered it. I believe it was probably just looking for some Perrier water.
While existing in this hotel, I'm sure it has heard much screaming from the rooms nearby as people rented the rooms for an hour or two.
We all know that in folklore there are no fake spirits. This video is real. Totally real.
And clearly we all know when it comes to hotel rooms, just the untrue porno charges on all of our bills. Like, clearly we do not watch these pornos.
But the screaming, to me, sounds almost like that of an infant, rather than a female adult.
Oh my gosh. Grandmommy needs a drink. I'm I'm sorry. This could infuriate anybody dead or alive. I can understand why the spirit is tearing this freaking hotel up. It's ridiculous.
I have been dealing with this my entire life. Now you take that and put on top naysayers? Come on. How do I even function? I don't know. Yes, I do. It's booze and drugs, but that's besides the point.
What I find really interesting about this footage, the man is on a walkie-talkie communicating with the other man whose voice we actually hear. We can see when the man in the hallway is speaking, and we can hear sort of a muffled, garbled sound. And I think that can be attributed to the entity, to the spirit. We can hear it quite clearly. We can hear the screaming very clearly. But we can't hear the man on the walkie-talkie. Feel like that's important.
So many of these hauntings could just be stopped if we just stop charging for pornography in hotel rooms.
It's room 209. Amy says nobody's checked into that room, and there's reports of screaming coming from that room. Amy, he's on his way down there right now. What's going on, John? There's no one checked into that room. There should be nobody in there. Wait 1 second, John. Amy, are you there? Yeah, John says he hears the screaming coming from that room. And I hear it too. But we're sure that no one's checked into that room, correct? John, just wait. We're gonna get a hold of the police, so I would wait for the police, John. Amy, John's gonna enter the room real quick just to check, make sure, see what's going on. Wait one. John? John, are you there? Okay, Amy, John wants you to call the police right now if you don't mind. He says no one's in there, but that all of the furniture's been turned upside down and the hold on. He says the carpet's been ripped up and that the shower is on, but nobody's in there.
Scary as hell.